So then, let me connect this with the problem of birth and death, which puzzles people enormously, of course. Because in order to understand what the self is, you have to remember that it doesn't need to remember anything. Just like you don't need to know how you work your thyroid gland. So then, when you die, you're not going to have to put up with everlasting non-existence, because that's not an experience. A lot of people are afraid that when they die, they're going to be locked up in a dark room forever. And sort of undergo that. But one of the most interesting things in the world, this is a yoga, this is a way of realization. Try and imagine what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Think about that. Children think about it. It's one of the great wonders of life. What will it be like to go to sleep and never wake up? And if you think long enough about that, something will happen to you. You will find out, among other things, that it'll pose the next question to you. What was it like to wake up after having never gone to sleep? That was when you were born. You see, you can't have an experience of nothing. Nature abhors a vacuum. So after you're dead, the only thing that can happen is the same experience, or the same sort of experience as when you were born. In other words, we all know very well that after people die, other people are born. And they're all you. Only you can only experience it one at a time. Everybody is I. You all know you're you. And wheresoever beings exist throughout all galaxies, it doesn't make any difference. You are all of them. And when they come into being, that's you coming into being. You know that very well. Only you don't have to remember the past. In the same way, you don't have to think about how you work your thyroid gland or whatever else it is in your organism. You don't have to know how to shine the sun. You just do it. Like you breathe. Doesn't it really astonish you that you are this fantastically complex thing? And that you're doing all of this and you never had any education in how to do it? Never learned, but you're this miracle? Well, the point is that from a strictly physical, scientific standpoint, this organism is a continuous energy with everything else that's going on. And if I am my foot, I am the sun. Only we've got this little partial view. We've got the idea that, no, I'm just something in this body. The ego. That's a joke. The ego is nothing other than the focus of conscious attention. It's like a radar on a ship. The radar on a ship is a troubleshooter. Is there anything in the way? And conscious attention is a designed function of the brain to scan the environment, like a radar does, and note for any trouble-making changes. But if you identify yourself with your troubleshooter, then naturally you define yourself as being in a perpetual state of anxiety. And the moment we cease to identify with the ego and become aware that we are the whole organism, you realize as the first thing how harmonious it all is. Because your organism is a miracle of harmony. All this thing functioning together. Even those corpuscles and creatures that are fighting each other in the bloodstream and eating each other up. If they weren't doing that, you wouldn't be healthy. So what is discord at one level of your being is harmony at a higher level. And you begin to realize that, and you begin to be aware too that the discords of your life and the discords of people's life, which are a fight at one level, at a higher level of the universe, are healthy and harmonious. And you suddenly realize that everything that you are and do is at that level as magnificent and as free of any blemish as the patterns in waves, the markings in marble, the way a cat moves, and that this world is really okay. It can't be anything else, because otherwise it couldn't exist. But the reality underneath physical existence, or which really is physical existence, because in my philosophy there's no difference between the physical and the spiritual. These are absolutely out-of-date categories. It's all process. It isn't stuff on the one hand and form on the other. It's just, it is pattern. Life is pattern. It is a dance of energy. So I will never invoke spooky knowledge. That is to say that I've had a private revelation, or that I have sensory vibrations going on a plane which you don't have. Everything is standing right out in the open. It's just a question of how you look at it. So you do discover, when you realize this, the most extraordinary thing to me, that I never cease to be flabbergasted about whenever it happens to me. What you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing. The real you is not a puppet which life pushes around. The real deep down you is the whole universe.
Listen. Listen down. Down into that sound. What is it? The current of air? Vibrating vocal cords? Your own eardrums? Something running in your head? It's all of these, but go still deeper. This sound is you vibrating. And who are you? Don't give me your name, address, and occupation. You know that's just a mask, a front, a big act. Who puts it on? Who puts it on? Your body? What an act that is. And who puts that on? Your father and mother? Did they put you on? Come off it. You know very well who you are, but you won't admit it. Deep in there in the middle of your heart, you know it. You've always been around, and always will be. And the you in you is the same as the you in me. You're not some sort of tourist just visiting in this world for a short time. You belong here, like the apple on the tree. And as the apple is the energy of the tree, you, yes, you are the energy of the world. You don't know who you are, do you? You can't really get at yourself, just as the fingertip can't touch itself and the teeth can't bite themselves. And that's because you, the far in you, is what we call Brahman, the self of the universe, the which than which there is no whicher, the heart and foundation of all that's going on. You think you're going to die someday? Yes, that's because every now and then you have to go off so that you can know you're on. You can't have an up without a down, or a back without a front, or a light day without a dark night. The whole thing is pulse. So what are you doing, Brahman? You're playing on and off with yourself, hide and seek with yourself. You're just passing eternal time with adventure. You forget who you are, really. Every now and then, you make like you're just a John Doe or a Mary Smith, or a butterfly, or a worm, or a star, and that you're lost in the middle of a big, big outside world that isn't you, that you don't understand and that you don't control. Of course. There has to be something else, something other, to bring out the feeling that you are you. And so that you can feel really you, that outside world has to feel really strange, different, weird. You old trickster. Deep down in, you know the whole bit. And therefore what you want is a surprise. So you have to let things get out of control. You have to feel lost and lonely to know you as you. And you play the thing out by inventing lusts and loves, fears and terrors, gnawing anxieties and screaming mimes. Also, you can imagine, it's not really me, it's it that runs the show. But our secret is, as we say, Tattvamasi. You are it. You are running the show by not letting your right hand know what your left is doing, by making like there's a whopping great split between what you do and what happens to you. And this is what we call Maya, the great illusion, and Leela, the play, the big act. And you don't just play your game with such simple elements as on and off, black and white, or life and death. To seem as real can be, this world that you are playing must be so complicated that you can't figure it out. Especially if you're using figures to figure it. So, between black and white, there is the whole range of colors. Between thunder and silence, the whole scale of tones. And between something and nothing, between a smashing fist on the face and trying to touch air, there are all the textures of feeling. Burning, throbbing, pushing, hugging, fondling, tickling, kissing, brushing, and light wind on the skin. Your world is all these elements, of light and sound, of taste, smell, and touch, woven together in many dimensions on the fabulous loom of your brain. Your brain, the most complicated thing in the world, which you yourself grew without even thinking about it.